Fox News Talk. I'm Lesley Gold. The number here is 877-367-2526. Jacey Wyatt is from Branford, Connecticut, and she grew up as John Christian Pasquarella before undergoing gender reassignment surgery in 2003. She's also running for governor as a Democrat, possibly against the incumbent, America's worst governor, Daniel Malloy. And I welcome Jacey now. Hi there, Jacey.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I got that title. I have so much to say in that first line there. Thank you.
We'll get to him. But
yes.
First, what made you want to be governor of Connecticut? The state's such a mess. Why would you even want to take it on?
I love big challenges. The small town, I've worked and I'm putting together some of the best plans that I've ever been able to come up with. So now it's time to move to the biggest and best level. I grew up in Connecticut all my life. I fell in love with what I've seen just because Governor Malloy has maybe put us in the position where we are today financially, or his predecessors and anybody before him. But I'm in a point now that why I want to do this is it's time to change the way the state is been looked upon, taken advantage of, and start moving us back, that the people in this town, in every town in the state of Connecticut, is just as loves their governor in the state of Connecticut, and I'm just that person that's going to make this happen.
Well, I first of all, full disclosure, I come from Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I have a high interest in what's going on in the state. Now, you are, as I mentioned, you're transgender, but you're not running on a transgender platform, correct?
You know, it's funny that me running for office, for being in part of doing anything that I wanted in life, I've always known where I came from. I grew up in a different world than I guess what most people think transgenders people are supposed to do, act, look. I don't look like anything. I've always told people is you never know that someone like that is living right inside your town. Mm-hmm. And so for my vision of what transgender is and being on a platform, when I grew up always to my understanding of who I am and where I come from, I've always been a female. I have a legal birth certificate as a female. I have I've had all the operations. I've been in relationships with men that never, ever became part of what I actually was in the past. It was always hidden. It was always something that wasn't most important about who I am, because I'm an incredibly smart businesswoman. So my platform to go for, I'm for LGBTQ. I will help them understand any bathroom situation because I've been there. I understand it. But it isn't all about that's the topic.
Right.
I see the economic development. I see gambling. I see gun control. I see absolutely the almost craziness of sanctuary cities. I am okay with Trump being my president. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I have no problem that I know my Democrats fall off the seat and don't even want to hear me say that. But it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Let him, he might not be saying and doing and being everything that we hope our president would be doing. But, people just like me, you're giving me a shot at becoming your governor. Everybody deserves the shot without being slammed down of all the little negatives around them. I think it's hard for me to not be passionate about it. But I also have a vision of where I want to head.
Well, good for you. First of all, that's such a welcome statement, considering I don't want to make this all about your transgenderness, but considering
we
that
hope not. We always tell people we hope not, because I think I might change the look and feeling of where you think this type of community has come from and be.
Great, but
I would love to represent them, but there's more to me than that.
But just the indication of cooperation with the president, that's been controversial. It shows a certain maturity at a time when politics is so divided. So that's why I say that's a very welcome statement. Especially someone running as a Democrat in a progressive state like Connecticut is.
It's time for that new Democrat to start finding that motivation to bring everybody back together, that, I am Democrat and we're going to be a little different. We're going to be able to talk to each other. We have our agendas, but listen, different. We need a different movement this time to make this work down the road.
Okay, Jacey, so I called Daniel Malloy, America's worst governor. I'll tell you why I think so. He enacted and he hasn't even decided if he's going to run yet. That's how unpopular he is.
Oh, if he does, I would primary him in a minute.
Right.
So
But
from what I hear, I'm going to win that primary.
All
so
right.
I hope my advice is to him, do not run.
So let me make my case for why I think he's awful, and then you could speak to some of the issues that I bring up, all right?
Absolutely.
So Daniel Malloy, Connecticut's current governor, he enacted the largest tax increase in the state's history at a time when the GDP is shrinking. The state has high taxes. It's got high energy costs. It's got a hostile business environment. He drove GE headquarters out of the state, taking hundreds of well-paying jobs with him. And something you just mentioned, he recently signed an executive order telling law enforcement not to assist the federal government in getting criminal illegal aliens out of the country. Inconveniently for him, pretty much the same day he did it, or within a day, we had a case where someone who was here in this country illegally had been deported and came back, stabbed a woman, stabbed another woman, left one dead,
Bridgeport,
and one critical, and ran off with a child. And luckily, he was caught. But I think it's sort of politically inconvenient that happened in Daniel Malloy's state within a day or two of him signing this order, that this is the exact kind of person he is refusing to help send out of the country. So, pick any of those as an issue. Right. Why would you be better than what the state has now?
Absolutely. First of all, I don't know Dan Malloy. Okay, I've never met him in person. It's never been one of my interests because I see how he is through answering the way it's totally reverses of and how I would answer anything that I ever hear him talk on anything and watch the news constantly. Love Fox News. And where I come from, why do they say something and then it's like it doesn't work out for them? It's because it's not well planned. It seems like they have their own motives and missions in the Democratic upper legislation from Chris Blumenthal and many of the legislators. They have a different vision and mission that this is, to me, the boys' club, and it has to be done this way. I'm a woman, a female, who sees we have options. Be friendly, be kind to one another. Let's solution. Everybody should be on this ride. Never let anyone should be left behind. So when something like this gets signed in and he fails at it, it shows exactly why he's not best at making the decisions for Connecticut. So from that point I think that they should be much more reviewing and vetting a lot of the situations we have in our state for many of the people that we have. There's going to be other problems. They're just haven't shown up on the doorstep yet.
So
I want to go into
hang on. I'm going to jump in here before you go to GE. Jacey, are you in favor of the state remaining a sanctuary state as it is, or would you have a different vision for it?
I'm actually looking at all of my notes that are being thrown at me for tonight. I have another TV show going on, and I'm going to tell you, it says right there, right on my screen, sanctuary cities. No, I do not want the state of Connecticut to be a sanctuary state. I do agree that the cities, if they wish to vote and put the consequences that the federal government and the state might be putting upon them, that's their choice, and their city mayors are going to have to live with it.
Okay. So, all right. So you were going to jump onto GE, for instance, which was a big issue in Connecticut. Yeah.
GE, the biggest employer, biggest moneymaker in the state of Connecticut, has decided to say goodbye, Malloy. I don't know what he was doing. If I was playing golf that day, I would come back to my desk. If I was playing or heard something of this nature, when this shows up on my desk, I would have fixed it. What do you need? What population growth do we have to bring to you in Fairfield, or move you somewhere to make a brand new place for us? We will eminent domain, get the land. What do you need? You bring the people together and solution things. GE paid $83 million to Procter & Gamble, investing possibly $359 million on only 12 acres in Boston, and Connecticut couldn't fix this. This is where, to me, this is why I'm running for governor. I am a candidate for governor because somebody needs to start speaking and understanding that there is better solutions.
Jacey,
and on my life to this is what Connecticut's failing on. And there's going to be others. There'll be others that'll come up and other financial places that are going to say goodbye. All
right. Jacey, we're talking to Jacey Wyatt from Brantford, Connecticut, who is running for governor as a Democrat. Jacey, you've run for some lower-level offices before, for selectmen, I think another one. You haven't won. What are you going to do differently in this campaign so you'll have more success?
Where it comes from on when I ran prior. I ran as a Republican as a tax collector back in 2011. I think it was 11. The party didn't support me. The town didn't feel supportive because I was fixed against somebody that has won every year 3 times more vote than me. So I was put in a position to fail. Didn't know, I was too naive at it. Second time I realized I'm not really Republican. I'm not really Democrat. I'm an unaffiliated. So I set up my own campaign, my own state funding, and I ran as an independent. I realized that in this town, you should have that third-party option. I was not looking for the win. I was looking to make sure they heard there's another option that can be on the ballot. Every time I ran, I've knocked out the first selectman Democrat seat. None of them have been seated since I ran on that ballot. I would end up putting his running mate as our third selectman. Branford, Connecticut is a very much way of saying is it's Democrat and Republican and a lot of unaffiliates. Republicans are gaining control because the Democrats aren't coming to vote. They're getting older. There isn't a bigger party that's coming to ground that and make it happen. Republicans are savvy and coming out, but they're not winning the state and they're not winning our towns because there's such a Democratic force that does actually support their own local elections. So answering it from the point that I've done it and I've given it the option, I actually do put a smile on our face because I'm knocking out my own competition next to me.
All right. Being
told in media that I'm actually the person that wins at the debates. Our current selectman is failing. He has so much financial situations that aren't working. Costco has now disappeared from a development that should have been in place and was in his actual campaign that is going to be built. He can't complete it. So the town is financially building buildings they can't afford. They're getting state funding, which could be questioned if they'll ever get it. And so they're putting historic buildings up for sale that should never be on the market. Our own Republican leader will eventually learn to say, and I actually can and will be because the election for governor is 2018. The first selectman for Branford is 2017. So we are actually putting a force that I might actually run also for the town selectman. For the town
okay.
Branford,
all right. Well,
so
Jacey Wyatt.
We're not done with me yet.
All right.
Not done with me yet.
I wish you luck. The state is drowning in debt. Connecticut is ranked as the state with the worst fiscal status in the country.
Let's fix it. It's fixable. I could give you the solutions. The people in the town, anybody along the route. Listen, we have somebody that's coming on this, looking to run for governor that you looked for a long time.
All right.
And I hope you look to support along the way. And you could always, find out more information about me. It's coming. It's only been 24 hours. We'll get the pages and all of the issues and get you my answers, but we're working on everything.
All right. Jacey Wyatt, good luck to you. I appreciate you coming on with us. 877-367-2526. We'll be right back. Fox News Talk. I'm Lesley Gold. News Talk.